All right, we have in the studio journalist Ife Onyegbile with us here to give us understanding and perspective to this. Ife, good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
Good morning. Good to see you. And
Great.
happy Women's Day, of course, is on Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm sure everywhere will be, quite agog with
Talking
activities.
about women.
But it's a good thing we dedicate the month to beam searchlight on this.
Yes.
Now, migration, as it is not a wrong thing. It has always been. In fact, human beings are migratory in nature.
Right.
Yes.
But the irregular one is what everyone frowns at.
Which is...
Okay, irregular one. Now, a lot of people say, now we're focusing on what the women particularly, because when things go wrong, women and children seem to be always, most of the times,
affected.
Are on the receiving end of things. Now, if we narrow it down to the issue of migration, a lot of people just feel, well, for better to stay, for worse to go. We have a challenge in the country and we can't, it doesn't seem to be waiting, so let's run away. Is that a way to think?
No,
Okay.
I would say, because from the reports that we watched, that Mrs. Akins gave us, you saw where the woman said that when some of them leave, when they leave their countries, you find that some of them are not even qualified for the environment that they're facing or the conditions.
They're ill-equipped.
Exactly, ill-equipped for what it is they're going to face in the new place where they're going. You even find also that for people who are educated, people who have some kind of handiwork, you must first find a way to integrate yourself into the society. I remember traveling to a country where they don't speak in English. And you're talking to people who apparently understand English, but they will never speak to you because they want you to understand their own language. So you have that language.
It happens a lot in France.
Yes, you have the language barrier. They want you to learn the language. You need to learn a trade. You need to go to school before you can get into the scheme of things. So I think before you get out, if you're going out there, be sure that you have something you're going to do there. Don't go through the desert to say, look, I must get here. Because I know when you talk about migration, a lot of it with some of the women who go without having anything to do, you just wake up one morning, pick your bags, you need to go. Run away from where you are, you're going somewhere. Many end up in prostitution. Some of them end up in what you call it, this house help things that they do. You see many of that happen in some countries in Africa. You don't even know where you're going. And when you get there, they make you do things that you don't want to do. So I don't think it's a good idea. You need to really plan out, your exit, where you're going, what you'll be doing there, so that you don't run into trouble.
Okay.
All
All right, we have to leave it here now because of time, but we will keep this discussion on the front burner. Thank you very much, Ife Onyegbile, for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Well, joining us now is a women rights activist, Ife Onyegbile. Good morning, Ife.
Good morning.
Thanks
to
for
see you.
joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We're talking women migration, and there was a statement that the last person made, talking about taking advantage of because women move for economic reasons.
That's it.
How do we as a country take advantage of this? Because it is being said that according to reports that women should take advantage of intervention programs. And I'm wondering, why not jobs? Why intervention programs? If you're talking about intervention programs, of what benefit would it be to the country, and how can we, stop this women?
Now, when we talk about intervention programs in Nigeria, I was having this discussion with someone yesterday, and the issue of, we always have this thing, women empowerment. It comes to the fore all of the time, and you're asking yourself the question, what is empowerment? You've just talked about interventions. People come to you, they give you pepper grinding machines, they give you, there's a state in the southeast where women were given headpans. You can imagine. Now, for a woman who has been given a headpan and maybe 1,000 naira to probably look for what to do with that, and she sees an opportunity to get out of the country, tell me, do you need a soothsayer to tell you what choice she's going to make? So we need to, as you've talked about, we need to find a way to create jobs. And when we talk about creating jobs, it's not that they're looking out for white-collar jobs where they want to come to the office, get to sit down and do jobs. It's about creating that enabling environment so that the jobs that these women create for themselves can actually thrive. Look at the woman who has a hair salon, for instance. She needs power to do that. If you have a society where power works, I'm sure a lot of things will work. Look at the woman who sews, the tailor, as it is. She needs spa. So for me, I've never been an advocate of this idea of women empowerment, because all of those things are just, it's just a flash in the pan. It's just what you call a stopgap. Let me even bring this idea of the 10,000 naira that the vice president, was giving out on behalf of the government. I didn't understand what that was. How can 10,000 naira be what will change the life of a woman who has probably 4 children? She lives in a house. She probably doesn't have a husband.
Yeah, she is supposed to channel that into her business.
Yes.
And then that could help the family. That's what
that's what that 10,000 naira.
Yes.
No, but Veronica, you know what 10,000 naira is in today's Nigeria? I can tell you how much I used to recharge my phones. I have 4 phones, as it were.
Wow.
Yes. You know, that you use for programs and all of that. Yeah, it's coffee.
Drink
Somebody
water.
get me water.
Drink water.
No, these phones are used for specific things, programs and all of that. But I tell you, some people recharge their phones with as much as 50,000 naira in a month. And these are women who do petty businesses. Now, I tell you, some of the widows that I worked with, because I'm talking from experience now, for me, I may even have a little advantage. Since after losing my husband, I know what it's been trying to, put food on my table and keep my head above water. Now, talk about the women who have no such opportunities, who have children, they have mouths to feed, they have houses to pay for, they need to pay school fees and all of that. And you're telling me 10,000 naira is going to change their lives? Well, I think for women like that, if they see opportunities where they can get out of the country, they definitely will do that. So I think
the discussion now, from that window that you are saying is, we already have the problem, the challenge that is on ground already.
Yes.
So what the government is trying to do, I'm not speaking for them anyway, because we've listened to a lot of this discussion and perspectives and opinion to this, and they're saying that it is just a way of saying, you already have a problem, you already have a challenge. Let's give you this to see how you can help.
What are you giving me?
Whatever it is, because the issue there is it's not only women that this is given to, because the men also have, like you were talking about the issue of power and all of that, economic issues, inflation, they affect every single citizen. Now, the point there is, if you put the man and the woman on the scale, sometimes because of the peculiarities, the woman might sink quicker than the man.
There you go, because there are so many other things weighing her down. One, the fact that you're a woman, there are so many things that you cannot do. Even the ones who go as far as, bringing themselves to that level to say, there's a house that is being built somewhere. I want to go carry sand as it is. You get there, people judge you. They're like, look, you're a woman. You cannot do it. I think we need to begin to look beyond this genetic makeup. And, take women on the value of what it is that they can offer.
So if a woman wants to carry a pan, let her carry a pan.
Yes, if she wants
if she
to.
believes that's
as
the way
long as she earns money, honest living from that work she wants to do.
All
right. Ify Onyegbile, thank you for speaking with us on this.
Thanks for having me.
Well, joining us now is a women rights activist, Ify Onyegbile. Ify, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Nice to have you on.
Now, at the heart of women migration is said to be the economy, and we understand what the state of the country's economy is. And we also have the issues of unemployment, the level of poverty, a barrage or a myriad of issues, so to speak, that are, challenging everything when it comes to dealing with this issue. But what is the implication if we do not tackle this head on?
The implication is actually staring us in the face. You're going to find that more women will drop into that poverty level. And that's why when I hear government say we've lifted X number of persons out of poverty, I think it's laughable. I wonder, because when this issue of, doling out some cash to women in the markets and all of it was happening, I said to them, where I'm from in Mbise, I've not heard any woman who would say, look, they came to this market and they gave me this money. Just to go straight to what it is you've asked me, if we don't do something about what is going on, we're going to have more people in the poverty level. And I wonder what the government will be doing by saying it's going to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in the next 10 years. You have told us what you want to do. You've not told us how you want to do it. And that is the question that Nigerians should be asking. How do you want to do it? That's what I'm interested in.
All right. Now, the women advocate, like you have said, that women should not be an object of pity. where, okay, let's do it for you because you're a woman and all of that. It still goes down to pushing down the woman because there's this feeling that you don't have what it takes. So let's give it, let's give it to you because...
I hate to hear that.
Yeah, exactly. But the point there is, what would it take to make, to take that woman out of that thought and that feeling and then put her up there to face the challenges as well.
Nobody should take you out of that thought, in quote now, as you put it. You are supposed to take yourself out of there. I was watching the gentlewomen you had on the press review, and they were saying to you why you had to get your content right. Once what you have inside of, that's it. Yeah. Once your substance, your content is right, I'm telling you, the right positions where you're supposed to be, you will get there. Nobody wants to put $1 somewhere. Nobody wants to put someone you're going to manage. Even in organizations that are privately owned, you must find somebody who's a square peg and fix that square peg in a square hole. So it's about getting what it is you're doing right and looking for the channels where you can get to express yourself. It's as simple as that.
Looking for the channels where you can express yourself. Very key. If you're Irregular, thank you so much for speaking.
Thank you too for having me, and happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day.
I just hope you have a great one. I'm sure you've had a wonderful time with
all
the women.
Had a great time.
He's been blessed amongst women this morning.
It's a beautiful thing. I would have had my gilly this morning.
Which
and,
gilly?
Just wear the gilly. I can, Thank you very much for making it happen.
Thank you.